So gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. I know you wanted to say a few words just about each of your backgrounds. Perhaps Iftikhar, if you could start.
Okay. My name is Iftikhar Hamdani. I'm the cluster general manager for 3 hotels in Ajman, Ramada Hotel and Suites Ajman, Ramada Beach Hotel Ajman, and newly opened Wyndham Garden Ajman. I'm with the company for the last 10 years, so maybe I'm the right person to sit here to discuss actually the evolving relation with owners. While most of the people they are discussing, that people are changing, market is getting really down, and then general managers are changing, operators are changing. I think I'm more optimistic to defend this, that there are many ways to keep owners happy, and that's the reason that for the last 10 years, I'm with the same owner, with the same company, and we grew from 1 hotel to 3 hotels. So I'm here.
My name is Panos Lupais. I head development for Wyndham Hotels and Resorts in Middle East, Eurasia, and Africa, based out of Dubai. And I've been with Wyndham since 2011, so just a little bit more than 8 years. Very exciting times, and we've seen lots of growth. And thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And my background is, please nobody sigh, I am a lawyer, but I've been in the Middle East since 2011, doing a lot of work in the hospitality sector, both in the region and further abroad. Jens, we had quite an interesting discussion before we came in here, actually, talking about the changing relationship between operators and owners, and I thought, I think we all collectively thought it might be quite interesting to start from the very beginning of the hotel cycle and discuss how we define the right product for a potential hotel site. Maybe Panos, do you want to start with that?
So, assuming you have a plot, there is quite a lot of asset classes that you should or you could consider while developing the plot. So, for example, you could have a hotel. The hotel could be 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, an extended stay product. You could have a residential component. You could have possibly a clinic, maybe a hospital, maybe a school, residential. So there is many options, many different asset classes that could be considered. What we always advise an owner is basically to go through the process of a feasibility study, or even better, highest and best use analysis that will establish what is the right asset class that should come on board for maximum returns in the time frame that it's stipulated for development.
For me, I always look at the owner perspective. We have to see that which product can give the ROI in short time. I mean, not in a very short time, like in not maximum time. So I always look into this area, and that is the reason that when from one hotel we went to the other hotel, we had the best operators or brand, Wyndham. We discussed with them and we opened Ramada Beach, where ROI was 8 years. Then last year we opened this Wyndham Garden. After the opening of this property in last summer, the property is full because it was really a well-studied and open communication between the brand, the operators, and with the owners. So we were like our hotels as in the middle from the owner side, give a right product which has no way to see the failure. So it's very important to see actually the ROI point of view, and then there are many other areas which we can just sit with the brands and to discuss.
I guess one of the things I've seen, because I've been involved in the very early development of hotels, construction right through to appointing operators and what happens through that process, and certainly kind of maybe 15 years ago until reasonably recently, you would have owners having an idea and a concept of a hotel that they wanted to deliver, and sometime down the road of that development, they would start thinking about which operator might be right for that product that they have in their own head. And often, that has sometimes been an ego development. They want a 6-star development, not necessarily taking into account a sort of sensible ROI play. And I think now it's changing. So in your guys' opinion, I mean, when is the right time to bring in an operator? What's your experience with that? When's the optimum time that you as owners and operators should come to the table together to discuss a concept?
Shall I go through?
Yeah.
So I think at the time that the highest and best use analysis that I described before is conducted, and the conclusion, which always should be market-driven, if you want to go for maximum returns, the development should follow the market needs rather than the ego, as you said, yeah? So once you know what is it that you should be developing, then the operator should be invited from the beginning, from the outset. And the reason is that typically operators will provide technical services. So we will go ahead, we'll provide all our standards, and we will guide the process of building the right consultancy team, and then reviewing the output of those different consultants through the different milestones to make sure that the product is compliant in order to maximize the returns in the shortest possible time of development.
Yeah, I will just agree with you, and then how we started with just one call just 3 years back, actually 3.5 years back, when we had actually one plot and we wanted to build a hotel. So when I suggested to owner that I wanted to get one property here because I'm almost full for winter or summer for 2 properties. So I wanted to get a hotel in this plot, which was close to Ramada Beach. And before going to suggest a name or what type of property is there, we have a strong ties with Wyndham. So I just called Panos, and just over the phone with half an hour, you know, what exactly I wanted to get being owner representative, and he gave the solution. And that half an hour call, you know, build up today a very nice product in Ajman, overlooking to the Arabian Sea, and property is really doing good. So it's like an open communication with the operator to tell them, you know, that what exactly is our need. And then the questions what operator asked me, you know, that what exactly we want from there, or what is the market, because I'm for last 2 decades in the Northern Emirates. So what I can see, what type of clientele is fit for that product. And that is the best combination between the operator and the owner. And that is the reason that now, starting from 1 hotel, we have now 5 hotels, and we are very happy with the operator, you know, even in this crucial time.
So I guess then there's a discussion right from that stage, because I know, Panos, when you use different operating agreements, so you can go down the franchise route or the operating route, and you know they both have positives on both sides depending on what the goals are and what the experiences is behind of the team sitting behind that hotel. Can you maybe talk us through a little bit at that initial point of contact? What are you thinking about in terms of which contract best suits this owner, which contract best suits us, and how does that form allow us to maximize returns for the owner and the operator?
Yeah. So most international groups, for example, we have 9,200 hotels globally. We only own 2 hotels, so we do not own, we do not lease. So typically we will franchise. So we are the largest franchise company in the world in terms of hotels. And also we manage also. So we will always discuss between the franchise and the management contract. We will look at the owner, we will look at the ownership structure. We will see whether the owner has the capability to manage a brand, an international brand. And for example, when we see that the structure is there, then we can basically, we will have confidence that we can give our brand under a franchise contract towards the owner. But if we see that this is lacking, then we would prefer to go forward with a management contract to make sure that we control, if you want, the delivery of the product, the service, so that the brand is protected.
I guess that comes down to that initial relationship you have with the owner as to, you know, what is it you're looking to do? Do you have the experience to run a hotel? Do you have the experience to deliver your own sensible ROI? Or, you know, do you not? Again, it kind of goes back to the ego play we mentioned before. If somebody would like to run their own hotel but doesn't have the experience, it's probably not the right arrangement with you. But having the operation agreement and the close relationship you have with your owners allows you to, you know, to maximize those profits for them. Iftikhar, any thoughts on that? I know you have some experience.
I prefer actually the franchise contract because I'm enjoying for last 1 decade actually. I worked 8 years back with another owner where we had our own management company. And now I can compare like being 8 years with the management contract and franchise. It's more like flexible for us to work with the operator on a franchise. And there is a success story actually with this. But then I agree with Panos that you need to have a right management also, because if you don't have right people for a right product or any product, then it is quite difficult to achieve actually, because in this case brand is a promise actually. So whatever we are getting that brand, we need to deliver accordingly. So we have like a real contract with the Wyndham, and then we are keeping that promise with the brand. And that is the reason that I'm the brand ambassador, being franchised, but for Wyndham worldwide, for last many, many years, because we are doing a lot of other things, not only like selling rooms. On a sustainability point of view, we become like an icon in the region because of many activities. So in my opinion, that the flexibility, what I'm enjoying, empowerment by the owner and then the empowerment by the Wyndham also is the best solution, but then I respect actually Panos' opinion also.
And you've done something quite unique, Iftikhar, in your role as cluster GM in terms of optimizing a lot of overheads and costs, which has delivered increased returns to the owners. Can you perhaps talk us through that process, what you see the benefits of that are, and how others can perhaps implement that kind of structure?
I think that the major challenge at this time, most of the people, they are just complaining with owner. And I always say that, no, I don't need to complain, because there are many reasons to say that there are challenges. Either you can say it's oversupply, supply is not the same. The clientele is changed also. The customer behavior is changed. You can see the new market, which they wanted to get the least rate, but they want to get actually the best quality rooms or best quality F&B with a very least amount what they're paying to the hotels. And especially in this last May till September, the hotels were suffering. Then some roles which are from our side also, because if we are looking all the time, from the operator perspective or being a hotelier, we need to look at the owner, because if he have invested, 300 million or 400 million, what we can do. So what contribution practically we set at Ajman, that we did a lot of things which give us really a benefit in our bottom line. For example, clustering positions. It's not only that I'm the cluster for 3 hotels as a cluster general manager. I have cluster departments also, like food and beverage. I have the best guy who's taking care of the 3 hotels. I have the best chief engineer. He started working with me in Wyndham Garden to build a hotel in 2.5 years, and then rectified so many problems along with the help of Wyndham technical director. At the same time, the other departments like sales is cluster. Purchase is giving us a big advantage, because 3 hotels with the 700 rooms, purchase we get more benefit also. So these kind of, whatever we are doing good things in Ramada Ajman, because that is the most sustainable hotel, I think not only in UAE, all over the world, So those practices, that team is implementing to the other hotel and then the third hotel. So that clustering thing. Then, for example, to use the new technology also, because every time there is a new technology, what really we can get benefit. We started the compost machine at Ramada Ajman, and you cannot imagine that in 1 year we are saving 120,000 dirham, 90% diversion of the waste from the landfill. So one side you are playing a role for responsibility, being a responsible hotel. On the other side, owner is very, very happy, because he is getting a saving 120,000 per annum, which was just a waste. You are wasting this money, because waste collector come and they're collecting this waste and they are throwing on the landfill. But 90% diversion is a neat and clean, and so many other good things which we have adopted. So being a hotel, when we had started this adopting the new technologies, and not the traditional way what we used to do, like sales point of view 10 years before. That time is past. The new time is very different, because I do have now 34 properties in Ajman. There was a time when I started, like 20 years back, there was only 5 or 6 properties in Ajman. But now time has changed. So with all these challenges, I think the solutions are very important, which can take you really on long-term relationship. And that's what we are, I think, a best case study when you talk about the relationship between the owner and then the management or the operator, Yeah.
And I guess from an owner point of view, is there, perhaps you could both give us a couple of examples of, we're talking very much from an operator viewpoint and when to bring them in and how to get them to collaborate. From an owner, what tips would you give to a potential hotel owner to say, this is how you work best with an operator, because a lot of the time, you know, I've seen hotels that change GM every 6 months. They don't give people a fair run at what's going on. Perhaps that's been because communication hasn't happened early enough and the expected financials aren't delivered because there are, you know, unrealistic views of what can be achieved. What sort of 2 top tips or 3 would you give to a potential hotel owner or developer to get the best out of an operator?
So I would say, even if you have, one of the things that it's often overlooked, it's also the chemistry between the 2 parties, yeah? So no matter, let's say, you might want a specific brand or have a specific brand in mind, but then if you meet, let's say, for example, the regional team and you see that you don't get the response that you expect, or you find that the chemistry is not there, you find that the way you do business is different from the way business is provided by the operator, let's say, then most probably this relationship wouldn't work. So aside the measurable things, there's also unmeasurable things, like, for example, the chemistry, the frequency, the way of doing business, the flexibility, or the way business is elaborated, which are also critical for the success of a relationship, like every relationship, actually. Yeah.
I think that the open communication, and then for understanding, it's very important to tell sometime with the hard decisions to the owner also that this is not really good at this time, because sometimes you need to take really a long-term decisions also. And I like actually the first, you know, statement from your side on the rolling stone of the people, you know, the hoteliers, like from 1 year here and 2 years here and 6 months here. So that circle is also really very much disturbing. So I think that the open communication is very important. That's what I came into the discussion, and I argue and I said that no, this is not good, because I am the experienced hotelier. I should tell things in right way to the owners, which she is not from the hotel background. So sometime, you know, that the owners, they have to accept. I mean, even if it is hard for them also, but they have to accept. But in my point of view, that open communication either with the brand or with the management, it's very important for a key, this is a key area for success.
Yeah. I guess there's one topic that's, you know, been discussed quite a lot just now is technology, how that's affecting the hotel industry, in particular Airbnb, and how that's affecting the available you know, rooms within any city or any environment. Do you have some thoughts on how that's affecting the hotel industry and how that can be overcome, particularly from owners looking to develop new hotels? What should they be bearing in mind?
So it's a very interesting topic, actually, and not much documented, I would say.
No.
So recently I did like some kind of research on Dubai, which is basically a market where the vacation homes are regulated through a decree from DTCM, where basically owners of residential units can actually, let's say, register them yearly and then put them on different platforms for rental. Now, what is interesting that today there are roughly 21,000 units in Dubai, which are registered under, let's say, the vacation homes. And from them, roughly 10,000 are active units. Now, of course, a number doesn't mean much in isolation, but for example, if we take the hotel supply, today we have in Dubai 115,000 rooms operational. If you go back in 2015, there were 98, so the difference of 17,000 rooms. If you look at some statistics on the vacation rentals, the home rentals, back in 2015, they were roughly 16,000.
Yeah.
So 6,000, sorry, 6, and today there are 21. So there is roughly like 15,000 units. So 15,000 vacation homes came into the market since 2015 until the end of 2018, whereby 17,000 hotel rooms came into the market. So today, what does this do? First of all, many of those, let's say, insertions in the market have been untraceable, because typically hospitality consultants, they will look at the official statistics of DTCM. So 2015 to 2018, from 98 to 115,000. So you can see there an increase of 17,000 rooms. But if you put on top the 15, 16,000 units, individual units that came under the vacation homes, that basically creates a major impact in terms of supply, oversupply, and how can this be balanced. So clearly this trend, which is naturally fueled also by the real estate growth in Dubai, is putting pressure on owners
Yeah, of course.
in terms of yields. And this is why we've seen lately RevPAR decline, if you want, despite the fact that the arrivals in Dubai have increased year on year.
Which again goes back to Iftikhar's point in terms of the efficiencies that you're seeking to drive by having a sort of cluster group back staff, which helps drive the profitability of those hotels, even with a regional decreasing RevPAR. So I find that really interesting what you were doing and discussing that kind of model with owners and how they can benefit from that. It's quite an interesting topic. I guess sort of lastly, I'm conscious of time and leaving some space for questions. So in summary, looking across the topic, what is the solution for new owners looking to enter the market? You know, just summarizing what we've talked about, bringing in an experienced team as early as possible. What would be your perfect scenario for opening a new hotel?
So I would say my top advice would be, if I can summarize it in 3 points, make sure you select the right plot. So that would mean a plot which is basically visible, accessible, and close to the demand generators. So that's number 1, the plot. Number 2, run the numbers. So do your feasibility study and look at what's the highest and best use for the plot that you are considering to acquire, and then see how much money, let's say equity, you have, and what's the loan that you can basically raise so that this project can actually happen, because otherwise it won't happen. Yeah, because you will need to get a second loan, a third loan, put other things on hold. So the second thing is run the numbers, and finally build the right team. And the right team basically entails a number of consultants, including of operators, but also extending to construction company, architects, interior designers, all the smaller consultants, lawyers. Everybody is needed to make sure that the team is successful. So choose the right plot, run the numbers, and I would say build the right team. And if these are done right, then the result will be the desirable.
I think that the last thing should come on the first, because if you don't have really the right management, the right people, then things will go completely wrong. So the sustainable growth, that is the reason that the people are really right management, right people. And then whatever we have experienced, with the success of one hotel to other hotel to the third hotel, and then it's just a plot, it's a parking area, and then sitting in a coffee shop, I told my owner that this is a parking area, but we can build something. And then, that vision that I told that I want to get all the sea view rooms, 150 to 200, and I wanted to build one hotel. But for which segment? I'm overlapping with the leisure segment from Ramada Beach, so I have this much business in hand, and easily I can just fill another hotel over here. So 107 rooms and 170 or 180 rooms. So it's very important that you need to have a right people who can really tell to the owner, because they're not a hotelier, So if you have a right management, then things can go further, and then you can plan either from one operator to another operator, because like, for example, Wyndham for me is, I'm blessed to work with them, because solution is now 18 brands or how many brands, we have
20 brands.
20 brands. So for me, it's not a difficulty at all, to tell owner that, okay, this is the plot and these are the segments, so we can bring either Wyndham Resorts or Ramada Plaza or Ramada Encore or Wyndham Garden. So there are 20 different brands, and one of this is really fit for this plot, and then this is the key of success.
Gentlemen, thank you.